Let's see if we can go StreamYard here. Okay. Good evening. How is everybody? I said I would be back, and I am back. We are back, and we are back on, and I am spotlighting this evening the author of Sex on the Shelf. Sex on the Shelf. Let me see here. Just trying to. Okay. Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Lori Phillips, and I am the owner of 2J's and a B. And here at 2J's and a B, we do custom screen printing and promotional products, along with dye sublimation and other um, methods of printing. So today, though, for the month of June, I will be spotlighting um, local entrepreneurs. And so today, I am spotlighting the author of the book Sex on the Shelf. And her name is Vickie Mosley, and I know her personally. I know her personally because she is my sister. She is the author of many books, but I will let her, come on and talk about that. But today we are spotlighting the author of the book, again, Sex on the Shelf, submitting your sex life to God. And she will talk about that. And we're also talking about how we do business to business and business to business with the various products that we offer. So, again, like I said, I'm talking about her book. So, we are also offering, or she will be offering later. We'll talk about that later, though. She has a mouse pad and a tumbler and a journal, which we produce here at 2J's and a B. Again, we offer promotional products for different businesses. And she is one of the businesses that we are spotlighting today. And I will bring her on now. So I am introducing to you Vickie Mosley, and she'll give you all the letters and credentials and everything behind her name. But hey, Vickie, let me add you.
Hey. Hi, guys.
Hey, how's it
Hey,
going?
it's good to see you. It's
It
good to
is.
see you.
It
Yes.
is. It is 8 o'clock on a Thursday, and there's a lot of things that we could be doing. But today we are showcasing and spotlighting your book because you have a book coming out. Tell me when.
Book is coming out on June 25th, and I have the author's proof right here. It's called Sex on the
Okay.
Shelf. And this is basically talking about how to submit your sex drive to God. And although this is a book for Christian singles, but it can be really a book for anyone who's just trying to align themselves with the Lord. That is the goal of this book, to talk about that, to do something different in regards to relationships. So that is what this book is about. It is book 2 of a series. The other book that I wrote with my co-author, and I always want to say that my co-author is Dr. Dr. Lanice Reynolds. So when
Yes,
we wrote this
ma'am.
book, it was Dr. Lanice Rosemont. But in the process of us getting this book done, it is now Dr. Lanice Reynolds. So I just want to definitely put a shout out for that, because one thing that I can say, the shelf life works because she got married, I think it was about 2 years ago, as we were in the process of working on this series. So definitely want to give a shout out. She wasn't able to join us today, but just want to give a shout out to her, because she is very instrumental and giving feedback and different things like that in regards to this book and us getting it out, both books really. So, it's just really been a process. Writing in and of itself is a process. So, most importantly, I just appreciate the fact that I have an opportunity to have a spotlight talking about this, and also for my sister to be willing to showcase my up
Yes.
and coming book. And again, I think I said all of that to say I don't know if I said June 25th is the
June, you
actual
said June
launch
25th.
date, June 25th
Okay.
of this month.
Not to cut you off, but I see several books behind you. Now I know that the your series of Shelf Life, Sex on the Shelf is not your first book. How many
No.
books have you written to date?
To date, I have written five, and I have two, four, six, multiple books in the workings, but I do have a couple of series. My first love is being a novelist, so I love novel writing, and so my first book that I ever
Okay,
wrote.
okay, not to cut you off. What is a novel for those
Oh,
who might
a
not
novel is just
read?
a long story. I like romance novels that are inspirational, so that's what I write. The first book that I ever wrote was Keturah the Second, and that was talking about Abraham's second wife. And so for me, I used to love just hearing stories, and I think my mom got me hooked on that. And so when she would talk about different stories, I would always wonder, like, well, what happened next? And so that was kind of what really pushed me into writing because I was just so curious as far as like what happened next.
Okay, so that's what a novel is. So when did you start writing?
Hmm. So I remember my first book that I started writing. It was in the spring of 2007. And I will never forget the experience because I remember waking up. It was, yeah, it was in the spring. I didn't have to go to work first thing in the morning. And I just remembered hearing this woman's voice in my head talking and complaining out loud and on and on and on. And I'm like, what? When you're kind of just waking up and you're just a little groggy, it's like, what in the world is going on? And it just kept coming. The story just kept coming from there. And I decided to jump up out of bed since I didn't have to go to work. And I got on my computer and started typing. And the story progressed from there. So it was just a weird experience, but it was so satisfying. And I think that's one thing that I would encourage anyone to do. Do something that you absolutely love, because when you love it, it's not a chore. So honestly, I sat down and I probably wrote this story out for about four hours and couldn't believe that I had taken that much time to write the story out in that much detail. But it was just something that I loved doing, and I've been passionate about it ever since.
Now, what you wrote out, was that your first book?
Nope. No, no, it actually wasn't. And and I will tell you why. And this is just something for anybody who's going to start business or be an entrepreneur. You cannot always share your dream with other people because I call them dream killers.
Right.
And so I remember having my little 6-page manuscript, and I went to a writing conference. And so I took my little manuscript, 6 pages, and gave it to a professional. And they ripped that paper apart. They ripped my manuscript apart. And it made me feel like I was not able to be a professional writer. So I just kind of put it down and moved on. And so what ended up happening was another idea came as far as
Mhm.
Couture the Second. So that was the book that I started to write from that point on. And then I found out that you could self-publish. And so it took me a while because, as I said, 2007 was when I started writing. I think it wasn't until 2017 that I actually got that my first book published. So again, don't allow dream killers and naysayers in your
Right.
inner ear, because um, they will block your blessing.
Yeah.
Writing has just been such a stress reliever for me, because there's so many other things that I'm currently doing. But again, I would have been further ahead if I would not have allowed someone who was professional to tell me that I wasn't able to do it, because I'm, as you can see, more than capable of doing, something that I love and I'm passionate about.
So you have, did you say 5 books that you've written and
But
some
yeah,
in the waiting? So how do you publish? How do you get your books published? When you go from
so
writing them to what is the next stage? What's the next step?
so for me, um, and again, it was like a total blessing when I got my first book published. It was great, but there was a lot of challenges, I'll use that
Mm.
word, in getting the book published. And so I kind of came to the conclusion that if this person could publish my book, why can't I publish my book?
Mm.
So in the same year of 2017 of publishing my first book, I became a self-publisher. So at this point, as far as Herbet Publishing, Herbet, Herbet Publishing, that is my own self-publishing company, of which I do it all: formatting, book covers, editing, you name it, I do it. Because anytime you're going to go in business, you have to know you have to know about that business. You have to know the industry. So I have spent many a nights up late, learning from YouTube University on how to do the thing that I love and I'm passionate about. So it's not just writing, it's
It's
also
everything else.
the publishing aspect as well.
Now, do you think, even though you self-publish, like you said, you are you're the author, you're the publisher, you're the editor, you do the book covers. Do you think you will, um, in time, relinquish some of those duties, to let somebody else do that to kind of free your time up?
I probably will. Right now, again, it's a stress reliever for me. I really enjoy it. So it's not work to me when you're doing something that you really like. Um, I just enjoy it. I enjoy learning about it. But as I start getting, more books to complete, and then working and opening up my own business as far as helping other people publish and different things of that nature, I'm gonna have to let some of it go and
Yeah,
sort
yeah,
out. I have definitely found a couple of um, organizations and other freelancers that I can use to actually source out certain things, because you still need time to write, and so
right,
you
right.
can't do it all.
Okay, so Shelf Life series. Sex on the Shelf is your new book, co-authored with Lanice Reynolds. Um, submitting your sex drive, I was saying sex life, but submitting your sex drive to God. Tell me a little bit about the book and how do you submit your sex drive to God? Because I'm gonna be honest, I don't have to do that. I I don't know.
Well,
I, I can't I
actually,
can't help anybody in that situation.
you
That's not
do.
me.
Because when you think about it, when we're talking about submitting ourselves, we're talking about aligning ourselves up with God's way of doing things. You aligned
Right.
yourself up with God's way of doing things because you're married, and because within the marriage covenant, you can have sex within the marriage covenant according to God's word when we're talking about Christians. Now, I recognize that everybody's not a Christian. I recognize that everybody does not necessarily feel they need to follow um, the basis of what the Bible says. But for those who are Christian and for those who are covenant in covenant with God, there is a specific plan that He has for our lives and our sex lives, if you want, if you will, if you want to say it that way. And we know as singles, if you have been single for any minute of time, um, always yielding yourself to God's way is not the easiest thing. So what we're talking about in this book is how do you align yourself up with God even when you don't want to? Because I think a lot of people would say that there are times they don't always want to do things God's way, even though it's the right way, but there's a blessing in it.
So this book, Sex on the Shelf, Submitting Your Sex Drive to God, is not just for single people. Is that what you're saying?
Not just for singles, because I mean, let's just be real. We know that every day. Let's just put it out there. We know people will have affairs. People, fool around. People are in almost cohabiting relationships. There's a whole bunch of stuff that people are out there doing that does not follow the guidelines of the Word of God. And right now, I'm not talking about people who are not part of the faith. I'm talking about people who are in the faith. There are people who, even though they believe in God, they don't believe that you have to follow God that closely, or they feel like, not having sex before marriage, that's not something that's necessary. That, that's old fashioned. That was back in the day. That does not apply to us today. But obedience to God always applies. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It has never gone, it has never gone out, of saying it's like, okay, well, this is 2022. Yeah, that's out of style. We don't have to do that now.
Yeah. Obedience was so Old Testament.
Yeah, that's Old Testament. We don't have to do that in the New Testament.
Yeah, but New Testament, we don't have to obey.
Yeah, we don't have to do that. But I was like, so my question would be for this: if Jesus had to follow it, why wouldn't we? Yeah. So, we have to, there are times where we have to really wrestle with the Word of God. We can't just listen to a pastor, which there's nothing wrong with that. But after the pastor goes home and does whatever, and then we're home, we still have to wrestle with what we're going to allow our eyes to watch, what music we're going to allow our ears to listen to. Who are we going to go out with and have a dinner and eat our meals with?
So you're saying all of that is dealing with the sex drive, the things that we watch on TV, the music or the things that we listen to, the conversations that we have. Mm-hmm. Some of those we should not be having because it is not submitting to God's way of our sex life.
Yeah, our lifestyle, mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we talk about in the book. And there's just so many things. I would say the basis of Sex on the Shelf is how do we bring ourselves back into alignment or in a better alignment with our first love. Jesus Christ, the Lord, is our first love. And that relationship should take precedence over every relationship. That's what I believe. I'm not going to apologize for it. I know people don't like it. I'm just saying. But that's what I believe. Exactly. Because I'm like, at the end of the day, when you shut your lights out and you're ready to go to bed, it's that type of stuff that kind of plays on your mind. Who did I do what with? Why did I do that with that person? Why did I allow them to do this? And it's the stuff that binds us up. And so Christ wants us to be free. He wants us to be free in everything. And the way we find perfect freedom is within his will. So that's one of the main topics of the book. And then how to get freedom. The Bible says, whom the Son sets free is free indeed. So one of the things, and I hope to share this real quick, Lori. I told you a little bit about it this morning, about a dream that I had, and I want to share it with whoever's listening today. One of the dream that I had this morning, and it was just so disheartening. It was a situation where there was an abusive situation going on, and when I saw it and I tried to go ahead and intervene and, say, hey, this is not right. You're not going to be physically abusive to this young lady. And then they stopped, and in the dream, it was just like, but it still kept going. And I remember it got so bad that I woke up out of the dream, and I was just very disturbed this morning. And I was like, why in the world did I have that particular dream? And I felt the Lord just impress on me and say, this is what I hear every night. This is the stuff that goes on every night, that there are people who get in bad relationships, people who want to be loved so much that they're willing to put themselves in bad relationships. And it's because they don't value themselves. Their self-esteem is so low that they would be willing to put themselves in a bad situation, a bad circumstance. And this goes on more than we think. We don't know what's going on behind somebody's closed doors. We just assume that everything's okay. But when you get yourself together and you begin to understand your value and your worth, and you just don't give the most intimate parts of who you are, and it's not just your sexual identity, but it's everything. When you begin to value that, you won't allow other people to devalue you. And so it's so important. And I feel like that's part of the call that's on my life, because yes, I'm an author, but I'm also a minister, and I'm a minister first more than anything. And so that's kind of the call. When you know who you are, you won't allow anybody else to devalue you and put you down, and definitely not put your hands on you. You know what I'm saying? So we don't, so that's part of the whole series that we developed, talking about the shelf life. When you're getting to know yourself, you're beginning to know who God created you to be, and therefore you don't allow anybody else to devalue that person that you are. And you start just growing and blossoming from there. So very excited about this series, very excited about what people will get out of it. And just really as a way for them to change their life, change the trajectory, I should say, of their life in this area. So, yeah.
I keep looking down at the mouse pad as if it's a book. Like, okay, so if you could pick a chapter out of the book, because I mean, what you just discussed and the dream that you had, and talking about the book helping to change someone's trajectory, what would be one of your favorite chapters, or what would be a chapter that you think, because I can't, I don't have a book here, so I can't be like, well, in chapter, I just have to wait for the book.
You have to wait for the book. But one of the my favorite chapters is Satan, the masturbator. So one, I kind of,
that's a play on words.
Yeah, I said, so one, I kind of get a kick of just calling Satan a masturbator, just because. Yeah. But anyways, the main thing is that he is a master at knowing how to bait us into sin. And when we realize that he's a master at this, I mean, we're not talking about someone who's just, oh, well, I'm getting my high school diploma. He's a master at it. He studies us.
Mastered it.
Yeah, I had.
He's an expert.
He's an expert. I said, I'm like, it part of the one of the chapters, or within that chapter, one of the lines is saying that Satan has, that we all have our own private little stalker, because that's exactly what Satan is. He stalks us. He studies us. He knows every little detail that he can about us. And a lot of times he stores that away for the most inopportune times. You could be having, a great moment, but because he studied you from a child, he knows a situation that will trigger that child in you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that all of a sudden someone says something to you and you're transported all the way back when you were a little kid, when you got hurt, when you got molested, when you got talked down to, when you got slapped. There are so many things that go on the inside of us that we cover up with our clothes, we cover up with our makeup, we cover up with our education, we cover up with our degrees, we cover up with our job, we cover up with our money, house, clothes, you name it. But that broken person is still there. Satan knows about that person, and he will try to exploit it every time.
Satan, the masturbator. Wow. I
Yeah.
like that chapter title.
Yeah. That could have been a book by
Yeah.
itself.
Right.
How
It
about
really
that?
could. It really
Yeah.
could. So this book um, sounds like it could be life changing. Like it could change, like you said, change the trajectory of someone's life. And again, like you said, it's not just for singles. Because as a married woman, um, like it says, the marriage bed, is undefiled. But there's times when, yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I, I don't
Hmm.
want to. Like, nope, not trying to have sex. And I'm married, and I know there are times that, yeah, my husband wants to be intimate, and I'm feeling like, oh, here he comes. Let me go to sleep. Let me, get on the edge of the bed cord, and so he won't touch me. Or when it's like, submit yourself to God. And when I submit myself to God, okay, Lord, I know I shouldn't be this way, whatever,
Hmm.
whatever. And it's like, okay. I mean, and when you put it like that, submitting your sex drive, not just your sex life, but your sex drive and yeah, your sex life, but submitting to God. I'm not submitting myself to my husband. So yeah, no, yeah, I get it. Yeah, it's not just for singles, because
Yeah.
again,
Because
and you
there's
don't want to
definitely
hold.
order.
Go ahead.
No, I was just saying there's definitely an order that the Bible, that the Bible talks about. And I think that sometimes, there's such sometimes people can be so out of line, um, not necessarily in their marriage or even in their relationship, but we can be so out of line and so out of order with God's way of doing things. And I think that that's what's so important, that this book is really driving home. Let's bring ourselves back in alignment with God's way. And then when we align ourselves with Him, then He helps us align every other area of our life. Because when you find that you're out of alignment with God, everything is off. Your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your coworkers, everything can be out of alignment. So when we're willing to work on this area and say, God, I will surrender this to you, then what other areas can God not get in and begin to minister and change and, transform?
Right, right. Well, I'm looking forward to June 25th when the book comes out. But I know we'll see more of you promoting your book and putting your book out there. And I don't know, I think we need to do something about that, do something with that one chapter you talked about, Satan the masturbator.
Masturbator.
Yeah. The
Yes.
masturbator. Yeah, you need to make that a post or something, or yeah, we need to
I
do
didn't
something with
think
that.
about that. I think that's something
Yeah,
that I will do.
Satan the masturbator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, that's it's definitely a good book. And again, we want to promote your merch that you have, your mouse pad. Like I said, I keep looking at it like it's a book. You got your shirt on, and
Yeah.
what author, what book reader doesn't want to sit down with their book and open up their journal
And a journal.
and open up your journal and begin to
And write
write.
the notes.
Yeah, take notes on the book that you've read. This is an awesome idea to have a journal. So this is going to be conjunction with the book. We're going to maybe do this in a conjunction with the book, like the book, a journal. Sounds like a plan. I don't know. Something I have to work on.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. Definitely something.
But at
And
least
make
you
sure you
know
write your.
somebody that can make this for you. Here at 2J's and a B, where we do custom screen printing, sublimation, and promotional products. Come check us out. As you can see our website scrolling across the screen, come check us out. We promote different businesses. We do business to business, consumer, customer. We got you. We got you. Can't forget your little trusty Tumblr.
Yeah.
So
Because
you're
you
gonna
got to
have
sit down and
bundles.
drink
We'll
something.
work on. I know you had mentioned before about working on some bundles, and I know the closer we get to your book coming out, they can purchase, all your items. So that's just something you'll be working on. But Vic, I thank you so much for coming on
Thank you for
and
having me.
talking about your shelf life series, and your new book coming out on June 25th, Sex on the Shelf, Submitting Your Sex Drive to God. And it's not just for singles. I learned that today. It's not just for singles.
Not just for
It's not,
single.
it's not just for singles, because we all have a sex drive. You know, if you have a pulse, I mean, your
Yeah.
sex drive might be, it might be not like others, but you got one. I mean, hey, look, we are human creatures, we are human beings, and God designed us and made us that way. And I don't know what else to
Listen, I would
tell you. Get the
say
book.
this. Get
Get
the
the book.
book. I said Abraham and Sarah. Abraham 100, Sarah 99, still kicking it on. So hey.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ooh. All right, guys. For those who are on, I thank you for hopping on. We can't really see you unless you leave a comment. But I don't know, Chastity, if you're still on, Ashley, Allison, hey, thanks for jumping on. Thanks for liking and sharing. We really appreciate it. But you will see more of Vickie, and she will be
Mhm.
promoting her book. What's today? I will be putting something up again tomorrow because I'm gonna be promoting her this week. Please hop on her page, Vickie Mosley. Like her page. We're trying to get her followers up, and to like and share her page.
Need
And
it.
yeah, and keep looking for um, Sex on the Shelf. Sex on the Shelf. Sex on the Shelf.
Coming soon. Coming
It's coming
soon. June
soon.
25th.
June 20th. Maybe I, can get a signed copy. But yeah, we have a lot more in store. We're going to do a book signing for her here at 2J's and a B, and we just got you'll see some stuff. But again, thank you for coming on. If you need any promotional products, click the link. We got you. Or well, there's not a link, but there's a website. So jump on. But again, Vic, thanks for coming on. In
Thank you for
closing, is there
having
anything
me.
else you want to say about you and what you do?
Um, no, I just appreciate everyone listening. I have absolutely enjoyed being here, and I really do appreciate it. You will definitely see me out more coming soon because I do have a couple of short novels coming out very soon, hopefully by the end of the year. My biggest,
Oh, okay.
biggest book that I want to come out is my dissertation. Thank the
Oh,
Lord. But
yes.
anyways, yeah, we're getting there, and I'm also I do book consulting as well. So if you want to ever run an idea in regards to a book that you're working on, poetry, because I do that as well. Don't hesitate to DM me. I will definitely go ahead and get back in touch with you because that's my passion. So I love doing that as well. So feel free to do that. Also, jump on my page, my Facebook page, Herbet Publishing. That's out there as
Oh,
well. Yeah, just reach out to me because again, it's my passion to do it, and I would love to help you.
all right. It sounds good. And we will end on that note. Again, Vic, thanks for jumping on and, promoting Sex on the Shelf. Again, Sex on the Shelf, submitting your sex drive to God. It will be out June 25th. Again, June 25th. Sex on the Shelf. All right. Thanks again, guys, for everybody that jumped on. And we will, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be on tomorrow. All right. Thanks. And have a good evening. All right. Bye bye.
Good evening. Bye, guys.